Hello, welcome to this episode of Fearless Aging. And the title of this episode is Far Better Ways to Hydrate. And it's not about guzzling liters of water per day. So, this is a great topic. Next to oxygen, water is our most important thing in our life. So, this is going to be a really great, informative session. So, our expert guest today, her name is Gina Bria. She's an anthropologist and founder of the Hydration Foundation. She's recognized as a leading resource for hydration science and education. She named a real world scholar. She produced the first International Hydration Solution Summit and the TEDx talk, How to Grow Water. It's not only blue, it's green. And she also is the co-author of Quench, your 5-day plan to optimal hydration. So Gina Bria, thanks so much for being here.
Oh, I love this conversation. Thank you, Rico, for having me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I just want to mention too, it's so good to connect with you again. You were one of our experts on our self-care summit about 3 years ago. Yeah, that was so good. So it's really nice to connect with you again because you have some really interesting and great information for people. So let's begin. Just tell us a little bit about your background and how you got so interested in water and decided to form your hydration foundation.
Oh, that's a great way to start because as what's an anthropologist doing with hydration, right? Like
Hmm.
that's a crazy connection. But for me, it happened because the first 25 years of my anthropology studies was really looking at ritual around the world and how
Mm.
ritual works and why there's rituals and why we need rituals and all of those juicy things. And I kept coming across so many water rituals.
Hmm.
And I just couldn't figure out why water as a medium was so prominent in uh, health and identity and community. And so I just started kind of looking more carefully. And then I realized, hey, hydration or dehydration is a really big issue.
Hmm.
Um, and I think it's Dr. Zach Bush who said we're
Hmm.
100% of us are dehydrated. And when I looked at this seriously, I was like, you know what? That is absolutely true. Our tissues are not, we are struggling. And this is a culture, a biological environment where everything conspires to take away our hydration every day. There's percentage hits through the day, whether it's, when you're stiff when you wake up, or you hit afternoon fatigue at 3 o'clock, or your eyesight isn't so great, or your hearing isn't as good as it used to be, or you're enclosed all day inside, you're in your office, schools, cars, airplane, everywhere you turn, it's pulling out hydration out of our system. And I thought, okay, well, who does hydration well? Like, where is that possible? And I ended up surprisingly looking at desert communities. Like, I compared an airplane ride to a desert environment and found out they were actually the same percentage of
Hmm.
vapor in the air. Can you believe that, Rico? Isn't that isn't
Well, we
that
know, yeah, we know that being inside an airplane is not a really healthy environment, is it?
well, it turns out being in your house is about not
About the
not
same.
much different.
Yeah.
So I was looking for some serious solutions. What were the human solutions? Who did it well in really extremist situations? And of course, I went to desert communities and did field work and research in pre-industrial societies on how they were hydrating, say in the Kalahari or in the Sahara or in
Hmm.
pick a desert. I looked at it. There's only so many on the globe.
Yeah, that's pretty challenging to stay
Yeah.
hydrated in the desert, isn't it?
Yeah, and I was shocked, and I hope you will be too, to find out they're far better hydrated than we are in our cities and in our rural communities. And I took a look at what they were doing to hydrate. And this is the big aha that I want to pass on to your audience, which is that they were hydrating, not using liquid because they didn't have any. They did not have 8 glasses a day that they were guzzling. They were using
Hmm.
food like, cactus, aloe, tubers buried under the ground are full of that kind of rich jelly. Cucumbers, we're going to talk about cucumbers today, I hope. Dates are a huge traditional hydrating food, as well as a high energy food. And once I looked at the kinds of foods or the kinds of plants that these communities around the globe were using, of course, it was a different plant in every different bioregion, but they all had in common this kind of aloe like, jelly like interior.
Mm-hmm.
And once I started researching what is that jelly like stuff, that was the commonality. That's when I stumbled into the new water science, showing that water comes not just in a liquid phase, not just in a vapor phase, not just in an ice phase, which is what we're taught, but actually in a gel phase or a almost like a plasma like material. And then got further knocked off my stool because the next thing I realized or was brought to was that's the water inside of our cells and our
Mm-hmm.
tissues. It's That's why you're not a sloshy sack walking around sloshing. You're
Oh,
not
that's
full of
right.
liquid.
That's
You're
right.
full of gel. Now it makes sense, right?
It does make sense. Well, Gina, before we get into more about why you can get better hydration, from that you can, and but let's talk a little bit about, just first of all, I just want to say to our audience, if you think about it, the most important thing in our life to stay alive first is oxygen, and the second is water, right? So this is such an important topic, and so talk about uh, really why it's so important for our health to be really fully hydrated.
Well, we're getting to that now.
Okay.
I said, we're not sloshing around, we're jellying around. We're like jellyfish that, have bones in
Mhm,
us so we can stomp around on the planet. But even
mhm.
if you reduce it maybe to a different picture image, that every one of your cells is a water packet, and they're all stacked on each other, next to each
Yeah.
other, or moving around, whether your muscles are moving or whether your water systems are moving inside of you. For example, uh, blood is just red water,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
Our lymph system, our capacity to pull vapor in and then distribute it among our lung tissues, which is just a series of rivers that run through us. Even our eye socket, our eyesight, our eyeball is a jelly ball, and our ability to see well depends on how well hydrated and
Mhm.
full that eyeball is. If it's dehydrated, of course you're going to get less precision in your seeing.
Wow.
Your brain runs it functions as an electrical system, all based on water passing among the cells of the
I,
brain.
I think our brain's like 80% water, isn't it? Something like
Yeah,
that.
and it's in this jelly form because that's what conducts the electricity. So
Mhm.
if you rethink how much you are water, then naturally hydration comes forward as our
Mm.
first health intervention, right? Especially if we already know from the anthropology point of view that we're living in very dehydrating circumstances.
Yeah.
So, drywall.
We're basically drywall, right?
We're in drywall time, or we're in automobiles that are sucking, literally all of these places that we live. Each one of them takes a percentage hit every day on our hydration. So, renewing ourselves with our hydration as the water beings that we are gives us a tremendous advantage to reconceive of ourselves as that need to renew and to live in this sort of fluid way with our own bodies.
Well, so well said. Thank you, Gina, and thanks for your great work. Okay, so let's tell our audience, what would you recommend? What are the three best ways what you'd recommend people to start really improving their hydration? What should they be eating, and also, I mean, we still need to drink some water, though, right?
Yeah, you're partnering with water. We don't want to get rid of liquid
Right.
entirely, but what I want to do is get you into the chain of understanding that a good source of your hydration comes from the kind of food that you eat. And when you partner that with liquid water, then the liquid water becomes more efficient and
Mhm.
absorbed as well. So, everyone carrying around the water bottles and dousing themselves all day long with water, you're creating kind of a new problem for yourself because every liquid amount of liquid you put in your system, your body has to do the energetic work of going to translate that into plasma or jelly, because that's what gets into the cells. That's what how the tissue gets water gets into your tissue. That's how it passes the cell membrane.
Hmm.
So it's really important to recognize that the more you guzzle liquid, the more your body's exhausted by having to go get all that liquid, now translate it into the phase of water that's in a more jelly-like form, and that the body will even waste a lot of that water. Like, we're not doing all that.
Okay.
So vast amounts of drinking is not the solution for hydration.
That's right. So,
Yeah.
and the reason being is water in this gel form. It has electrolytes. It has minerals in it, and so that's why it's so much easy to get into the cell. Is that right?
Yes, because the point of water, the whole point of being a water being is that it conducts electricity. That's the work of water. Now we
That,
know why we're drinking.
that's so good. Well, our sessions go by really fast now. So I know you have talk about the water salon and the water education program that you have coming up and how people can connect with that and find
Yes.
out.
Yes, thank you so much for asking me about we so the Hydration Foundation, which I founded in order to help people get better hydrated without carrying all the water bottles around, which I never saw in a desert culture, right? They weren't doing that.
Yeah,
And using food, partnering with fresh, yeah, a lettuce leaf is 98% the correct kind of water your body can use immediately, right? An apple is more hydrating than a glass of water, literally.
yeah,
Like, these are the kinds of ways. If you're going to have a pizza, just go have a salad with it, or eat an apple afterwards. In other words, just start thinking of this chain of events of how do I restore my hydration, use food. And we are teaching a lot of these things or sharing a lot of information about water at our new water salons. So I think the next one is October 4th. We'd love to have it's a Zoom call. You get in there and see who else is interested in water, meet people there who are caring about this new strategy for thinking about not only our personal health, but our planetary health, our animals' health, our crops and how we grow them, the great trees and how we can help them. All of those things are the kind of hot topics we discuss.
yeah. Thank you so much for Gina, and thank you for your great work. So yeah, we'll put the information. We'll put that link where you can join th- that event that's coming up about your water salon, so people can join you there. And also, I know you have a gift. It's a short video all about uh, body harmonics. Just mention that
Yes.
real quickly.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. So that's a link. It's a free event. Anybody can click on that. And it is an interview I did that's about 17 minutes long that really addresses why hydration keeps you from aging. Because, I mean, when you think about it, death really is the ultimate dehydration, right? You're just tripling
That's
up
right.
and blowing
You,
away.
you dry up. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Gina,
love to share
we're
that.
okay. Well, thank you so much. We're out of time again. That's some great information, and I really appreciate you being here and offering this great information to our audience.
Thank you, Rico.
So thank you
Blessings on
very
us
much.
all.
Thank you very much. All right.